intentional perversion of the truth in order to induce another to part with something of value. That is the definition of fraud, and it happens every day. A credit card receipt left in a restaurant, a bank statement put in the recycling, a purchase made online perhaps, the right numbers in the wrong places. With so many people wanting your personal information, financial crimes are on the rise. The City of Eugene has a unit designed to fight those crimes.
The EPD Financial Crimes Unit is 5 detectives and a sergeant, and we are the only unit in Lane County that works specifically financial crimes or white-collar crimes, economic crimes, whatever you want to call it. Other departments have detectives as well, but they're typically generalists. They handle whatever comes in the door, and a lot of times financial crimes is the bottom of the pile. You get a homicide, and they're drawn away for days or weeks at a time. So we focus on the big dollars, on the vulnerable victims, and identity theft is the big thing right now. That it became a crime in 99-2000 at the federal level and the state level. So it is just about every financial crimes case we work because it's fairly common. And the types of crimes range from simple check fraud to credit card fraud to ATM, bank fraud, you name it. The crimes are out there. The criminals will figure out how to work the system and make the money. That's essentially what it comes down to, is getting money. That's what they want. 90% of the cases revolve around methamphetamine. This area is just full of meth, and a sizable percentage of meth users in this town are financing their drug activities by committing identity theft and financial crimes. There are two real main categories for financial crimes. The first one is probably the most common. It's having your purse stolen, your wallet stolen, your car broken into, your house broken into. Someone gets your checks, they get your identity documents, and they turn those into money. They're buying things at the local stores. They're taking your credit cards and charging things. They're opening new accounts in your name if they get enough information. Those are the bottom line ones. You can protect yourself from those mostly by just guarding your own documentation and locking it down in your house, putting it in a safe, not carrying too much with you. The other type is a little tougher. This is where you get the email or the phone call or the text message that purports to be from something official, either a government agency like the IRS is the most recent one we get around tax time. You get the emails saying they're from the IRS. Nigerian fraud scams, and there's a wide variety. It doesn't have to be Nigeria. These things a lot of times are overseas. The secret shopper scams, the investment scams, these are the things that they try to get you to do the same thing, which is provide your personal information or to get you to do a transaction for them. They will send you a check. They'll tell you they're going to send you money orders or something, and then you do the transaction, and they want you to wire the money somewhere, typically overseas, but not always, and then at that point you're pretty much stuck with the debt. These things are happening on eBay, on Craigslist, any of the online sites, the dating websites, where they're actively trolling for victims and trying to get them to do these scams. So what you have to recognize is it sound too good to be true? If they're asking you to do something that is not reasonable, think it through before you do it. And if you accept a document like a check or a money order, resist the urge, the pressure that they'll put on you to do the transaction right away. And if you feel like you need a deposit, put it in your bank, let it sit. Let it sit for a week or two before you do anything, because you'll probably 99 times out of 100, and I would guess probably 100 times out of 100, it'll be bogus. And then you'll maybe be out a small fee for the check bouncing, but you won't be out $10,000 or $20,000, or in one case we had, the man had actually wired $100,000 overseas to Nigeria based on somebody he thought he met on a dating website. So those kind of things where you get those messages, you get the prescription drug medication type things that show up on your emails, I'd say delete them all. There's nothing good that's going to come across those spam emails. They're coming from overseas. I got half dozen today that came from Brazil, Italy, one from London, and a couple of them out of China. They're bogus, 100% bogus. There's no reason to keep them, and unless you fall victim to one, there's no reason to report it either. They're just so widespread that everybody knows about them at this point.
Other financial crimes include counterfeiting, fraudulent use of credit cards, computer crimes, and theft by deception, more commonly referred to as scams. Such crimes may also involve financial abuse of the elderly or the disabled.
Our unit probably does more crime prevention than any investigative unit in the county or probably in the state. We spend a fair amount of time talking to community groups, schools. I do schools every year, numerous schools, to financial institutions, to any business that wants us to come and give a talk. Do the Rotary. We do all kinds of outreach groups, and we try to tell them the same thing: is to recognize what the scams are and how to protect themselves. I call it hardening the target. That's usually my common term for the little talk. It's a 20 or 30-minute gig that I do for a lot of these places, and it essentially just shows you what you can control in terms of your safety with financial crimes, your financial paperwork, your personal information, what you can't control. There's a lot of it out there you can't control. Your information is out with the banks, the credit unions, the credit reporting services. Your information is all over the place. You can't control a lot of that, but you can keep an eye on things. And we try to tell people, don't become a victim. If you're not a victim, then there's not a crime that has to be investigated. You're not out any money. We don't have to spend the resources to go and try to find something. Or we typically, in a lot of these cases, we can investigate them. If it's overseas, you've sent money out of state or overseas, and you're out those thousands of dollars, we're pretty much done, and your chances of you getting federal people involved are next to nothing unless it's a major scam that they're going to take an interest in. So what we try to do is convince people how to recognize, or show people how to recognize where the scams are, how to avoid them, and then pass that information on. Because there are a lot of people out there that don't read the paper, don't watch the news, don't go online and look at this stuff, and they get an email and they respond to it, and then they're hooked, and then they're coming to us later saying, I sent $100,000 to Nigeria, what can I do? And I'm pretty much stuck saying, there's nothing I can do. So I want to be able to focus on the people that are causing the most problems in our community, and those are the folks that are right here. And if people can prevent this kind of activity from happening, that lets us focus on other cases that we need to spend more time on.
The Eugene Police Department wants you to be safe from identity theft and fraud. For information about financial crime and how to protect yourself from identity theft, visit the crime prevention area from the police link at the city's website. To report a financial crime, call 541-682-5111.